Flavour.
This is Cambridge Radio.
I'm going to read you the menu. It's fantastic.
So we get better flavour because of the fen soil.
I've drunk more beer since I came here and bought my 2 barrels than I've ever done in my life before, I think.
I shouldn't have said almonds. They don't make it from almonds.
So you've got this big sticky mess when you start off.
Pizza, pots, pints.
My wife's cakes are selling at hot cakes. Brilliant, thank you.
The time is right for this sort of thing.
Food is everything.
Cambridge is right for this sort of thing.
What's it like? Delicious.
Good afternoon and welcome to Flavour and to lots of good news about local food and drink. I'm Matt Bentman here in the studio with Alan Alder. Sue Bailey is away today, but hope you've had a good week, Alan.
Yes, I have actually, but it's been pretty busy because there is so much going on in the food scene at the moment. It's hard work keeping up.
Yeah, well, we'd better get on with it then. So what's coming up on today's Flavour?
Well, there's new produce to talk about, and we've got some ideas from Alex Rushmer of Vanderlyle for savoury dishes using one of my favourite ingredients, rhubarb. With news, there's some fantastic jams at Culinaris, music, comedy and supper club nights at a Cambridge café, news from Van Jard about doorstep deliveries of their refill goods.
And we've got news from the Cherry Pit about their new ordering system. Also news of a new idea whereby if you're not keen on dining out alone, you can arrange to have a meal with others at a shared table. This is an idea that launched in Cambridge recently.
Yeah, and we'll have our regular features too. Free food in Cambridge, local food and drink news, social media updates, and at the end of the programme, our jobs roundup. But first, Ellimata in Victoria Avenue, that's near the junction with Chesterton Road, has been open for 17 months now. And one of the many impressive features has been how co-owner Amanda makes most of what they sell from scratch, not just buying it in. The range of home-produced foods now extends to the bread they use for their sandwiches. Ellimata has also broadened its offer to include opening some evenings for music nights, a supper club and a forthcoming comedy night. I spoke to Amanda and Shane about all that, starting with the cakes. More recently, you've expanded your range of cakes as well.
Yes, we started out, we just had small cakes and biscuits, but we do have a wider range now. I suppose I just found my confidence as we've gone along and found what people enjoy eating. We have a few biscuits that are always there, our little nods to Australia, our Anzac biscuits. I recently made one up that's inspired by an Australian chocolate bar called the Cherry Ripe. So they're popular. And the cakes that we do it's the seasons that inspire what we choose to do.
So you're using seasonal produce?
Yes, which is very much part of our menu throughout. So at the moment, for example, I've got a pear and pine nut cake on that took the place of apples. I'm starting to think about spring and already really looking forward to wider ranges of fruits
Yeah, you've always expanded in doing music, Shane.
Food and music are shared passions of Amanda and I, and it's always been on the cards that we would do something with the space as far as hosting some kind of music, but we wanted to get the day-to-day operations of the cafe working as smoothly as we could before we added an extra set of work into the equation. When I first conceived that idea, it was going to be me who was going to host these evenings. And I was planning to pick an artist or an album or a genre or a style of music that I felt somewhat knowledgeable in, definitely passionate about, and owned enough on vinyl that I would be able to host an evening dedicated to that music. And that sort of sat on the back burner for a little while we just sort of worked out the nuts and bolts of running a day-to-day cafe. And in the meantime, we were approached by a friend and regular customer of the cafe called Sean O'Hanrahan, who was
the pianist.
The pianist
of some repute.
Absolutely, from a lineage of Cambridge musicians. So when he came in one day and said, "I'm releasing an album and I'd like to have a listening party in the cafe. What do you think about that?" it was too good an idea to refuse. So we collaborated on putting together an evening that involved listening to a test pressing of the vinyl release of his debut solo album. He decided to also put a smaller version of his band together for the evening, and they did a short live set in the cafe.
That's fantastic.
And that was our first foray into music.
Yeah.
And it was just such a great night that it really put the wind beneath our wings to want to do more. So after we had such a great evening with Sean, we decided that it was time to wheel out the idea of the deep dive. And we did that in collaboration with another group of Cambridge music fanatics called Cambridge Dance. Our first deep dive was a deep dive into pre-revolution Persian music, which was
delightfully obscure.
Absolutely. I think we all learnt a lot that night.
Yes.
And the host of that evening is an avid collector and quite knowledgeable on that sound and the history of that music. So he presented a few hours of music and educated us all along the way. And then at the end, everyone got up and had a dance for about half an hour, and it was really lovely to see the cafe turn into a completely different space.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Since then, we've done another deep dive into music of the African continent, hosted by another member of the Cambridge Dance crew, and that was equally enlightening and great fun. More dancing.
I was going to say, I bet there was more dancing there. Yeah.
There was a lot of.
That one was not intended. We have softer lighting in the evening, but someone was sitting near the light switch, and at a certain point late in the evening, he knocked his head back and accidentally turned the lights off, and everyone in the room took it as a cue and started dancing.
Oh, really?
So we didn't have the heart to put the lights back on.
And are food and drink available up there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So you're sticking to the food and the drink as well.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to sort of, come up with a couple of dishes that sort of suit the weather and the mood of the evening.
It's a specific couple of dishes that I put together for each event, depending on the
But you're
style
also
of the
doing
evening.
supper clubs. You started doing supper clubs as well.
Yes.
Is that going to continue?
Yes, it's been, we had a great response to it. It's an idea that's been there for a while, but we wanted to get established and have, if you trust me to make you a good sandwich, maybe you'll trust me to make you a nice dinner as well.
Yeah.
So it's intimate. We have, as you can see, we only have 7 tables, so it's a maximum of 20 people. Three set courses, seasonal. So what we have just done was our winter menu. We did 3 sessions of that, and come April we'll do 2 or 3 sessions again of a spring
So
menu.
they're going to start up in April with the...
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we decided, we did 1, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It was booked out immediately just for a blackboard in the cafe. We'll do 2. And then we did 3. We've done the hard work. And through that we found a formula. Okay, it'll be seasonal, so that's it for winter.
So you've got quite a following, really, both for your food and your music as well.
It feels like people have started to latch on to what we're doing.
Yeah.
You never know when you start something organically and inspired by your loves and interests, whether it's going to, or how long it will take to find people who appreciate it.
Right, that's great. Well done, Shane and Amanda.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
And you can find out what's coming up at Ellimata via their Instagram account. The comedy night is on the 29th of March, and that features Michael Akitdiri, Callum Mackenzie, Fred Ferenczi, and Mags McHugh.
And now details of free food available in and around Cambridge, and the information about what's available and where to get it comes from the Olio app, and that's there so that people's or businesses' surplus food doesn't go to waste.
Well, this time around, there is really little on Olio. Bababa, near Clay Farm Centre in Trumpington, has various bakery items to give away, including stacks of rolls and baguettes. She's got a 4-pack of finest extra fruity hot cross buns and a 4-pack of St Clement's hot cross buns. But what's the difference between those two types of buns, you ask? Well, the St Clement's buns, it's got orange-soaked sultanas, raisins, candied orange and lemon peel, which I think links this bun to the oranges and lemons say the bells of St Clement's rhyme.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then we've got Nina on Rustack Road, and she's offering both large and mini tiger baguettes and white French baguettes. But don't forget, Olio is not just for free food, because plenty of people use Olio to give away free items, even cooking-related items. So, for example, Olivia near Bateman Street is giving away massive cupcake tins. And I picked up a couple of silicone loaf trays just a few weeks ago. Brand new and unused. Really good. Excellent value, right?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so Olio has got plenty to offer with lots of new things every day. It's well worth checking out.
Yeah, and there is another free app called Too Good To Go, which does focus on food. It has unsold food from restaurants, cafes and shops, often at less than half price, so there is a payment for this one. Instead of specifying each unsold item, the surplus food is simply put into a magic bag, and that's ready for you to take home, saving it from being binned at the end of the day's trading.
OK, let's move on to our first news break now for the 7th of March 2026. We begin with Molino, and they've announced the end of their pop-up at Barbarella. That's in Chesterton High Street, Barbarella's cafe. The last one is going to be next Friday, 13th of March. The reason is that they are opening their own micro bakery in Borough Green near Newmarket soon. So really well done to them.
Yeah, and good luck to them. Afric Food's stall on Cambridge Market is shut until the 18th of March, but the restaurant is still open at 42 Hills Road, and that's every day from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Steak and Honour's new premises, now that they've moved out of Wheeler Street, is to be next door to their very own Buren on Mill Road. No confirmed opening date yet.
We put on the Flavour Instagram account at FlavorCam recently that Maurizio in Mill Road is closing soon. A lot of people are very upset about that. And the hot news is that the premises is going to be taken over by Marvin's, the sandwich offshoot of Stir.
Fitzbilly's is moving its bakery to Harston. It will be in the High Street at numbers 59 to 61, where there used to be a Ducati garage. There will be a cafe on the premises too, with 7 new jobs available.
Hot Numbers Roastery in Shepreth is now serving its pizzas 7 days a week.
And finally, Rania Grill in Chesterton Road has a special iftar offer for £20. They're also giving away a complimentary bowl of their lentil soup with every meal from their regular menu. And that's whether you're dining in or having a takeaway. So we'll have more news, including market news, later.
As regular listeners will know, rhubarb is something I get very excited about, but I eat it mainly in desserts. I popped over to Vandelisle during the week to get some ideas from Alex Rushmer on how he might use it, and he focused on savoury dishes. Alex, have you got any ideas on rhubarb? I know you must have.
Yeah, I adore rhubarb. It's one of those brilliantly British ingredients that's in season for quite a lot of the year, actually, and it's a sort of it's a bit of a beacon in the middle of winter. You have these gorgeous forced rhubarb coming down from Yorkshire. And then it's really in season all the way through until the height of summer. The outdoor rhubarb with those lovely fat stems. I used to eat it raw as a kid. One of my friends had a rhubarb patch in his back garden, and we'd cut these rhubarb stems and just dip them in sugar and nibble on them. It probably wasn't very good for me, but it's one of my fondest memories.
Jane Grigson used to do that. She has that in her fruit book. Yes, exactly that. Dipping it in sugar.
It's a wonderful memory. And cooking with it as well. It's incredibly versatile, and everybody I'm sure knows about rhubarb crumble or rhubarb pie or strudel, and having it in a sweet context. And we did a dish here of rice pudding, a cold rice pudding with poached rhubarb and a rhubarb compote, which was delicious. But I also love it with meat and fish as well, in a more savoury context.
Do you? I was hoping you'd say something like this.
Yeah, this is one of the. It is versatile, and you think about the acidity in it. It pairs very well with anything that has a lot of fat. So pork or fatty fish, it's really, really good with. So you can just stew it down. Don't add anywhere near as much sugar as you would if you were taking it in a sweet direction, but just a little bit, just to offset that high acidity. Just make a very, very quick stew. And then you could serve it with pork instead of applesauce, or also with mackerel. One of my favourite dishes I've ever had was just pan-seared mackerel with a little bit of rhubarb compote. It was absolutely delicious. So it's very, very versatile, very British, and it should be celebrated. Oh, with cheese. You could make a chutney. Rhubarb chutney is really good. So if you just sweat down some onions and add rhubarb where you would add any other fruit. So if you're making an apple chutney, you'd add apples. But rhubarb is very, very delicious with cheese. Again, it's that fat acidity thing that you just have this lovely counterpoint of the two things. So a rhubarb chutney, I suppose, would be the best description for it. With any cheese is really delicious.
Well, talking about it going with fatty things, I wonder if it would go with something like duck confit.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. It would be it'd be perfect.
Because that really is quite fatty,
confit,
utterly delicious.
Confit duck with just some sauté potatoes and some very, very fresh wilted greens, and then a dollop of just cooked rhubarb would be wonderful.
Yes. Well, the Mill Road Butcher's selling confit duck at the moment.
Oh, you've got an instant dinner almost.
Well, thanks to Alex Rushmer, and I'm really looking forward to having my confit duck with some rhubarb. Alex will be back on the programme on the 4th of April.
Rhubarb chutney for me, I think. That sounds fantastic. More food coming up, but let's pause for a while and think about eating out in a restaurant or just having coffee in a cafe. Sometimes you're in a position of doing it by yourself, and often that's fine. Maybe it's just what you want, but not always. And sometimes a bit of company does you good. Sue talked to Paul Jaggard, who has set up Join the Table, and this is a means by which you can arrange to eat with others.
It's a platform where people can go on that are travelling on their own, people that are tourists, people that are single, people that are just wanting to connect with other people. They'll be able to go onto the platform and put in their location, maybe Cambridge, or if they were in Manchester or wherever, put in their location, and it'll bring up a whole bunch of participating restaurants, cafes, hotels that offer one of our shared tables. And what I mean by a shared table, it's simply the user will be able to go on, create a profile, book an individual seat at a shared table. So you imagine there's somebody who's travelling for work, looking for something to do on a Thursday night. They've arrived in Manchester, they don't know anybody in the area. They can go onto the app, right, okay, well, the Red Lion in Manchester is having an open table at 7 o'clock, a shared table, should I say, and they'll be able to book an individual seat and join the other diners for a meal or for a coffee, that sort of thing.
That sounds like a rather clever idea. So, I mean, in one sense, this type of thing has been, I suppose, used from a dating perspective, but obviously this is not a dating idea.
I've had a business for 25 years, travelled up and down the country, staying in hotels, sometimes 2 or 3 nights a week. It sounds lovely, but after a year or two, it becomes quite mundane, and it can be quite isolating. We're away from family and friends. When you do it all the time, all you really want is a bit of connection, and nice to have a bit of local connection as well. You can be in the best hotels in the world or lovely restaurants, but when you're completely alone, it kind of takes the edge off it. I'm sure you know what I mean. So that's very much where it's been driven from, just trying to connect people that are solo travellers, business travellers, tourists that travel on their own. I mean, in Cambridge, we obviously have the universities. There are a lot of parents that come to visit their sons and daughters.
And so you actually had the launch for this very recently, didn't you? Which I gather was in the University Arms.
Yes, yeah, which was lovely. They're partnering with us, and they also held the launch for us as well. You have had quite a lot, and this is specifically for Cambridge, and you've had quite a lot of local interest, I gather, as well. The hospitality industry, which I know you know lots about, obviously, and it's struggling at the moment. When I sort of started the app, a couple of years back, I was doing market research, and I was down in Devon. All the restaurants, hotels, cafes I was speaking to, they all have quite a lot of downtime, sometimes too much downtime. And so I was sort of talking about how I could utilise that downtime. And so to start with, we were sort of saying, well, if I can send people, and maybe during a quiet time, Tuesday at 5 o'clock or whatever it is, they were like, great, that would really work for us. So Yes, I think the interest comes from the hospitality side, because they really need to fill those seats. Beyond that, we're working with the end users themselves, that are people that are just a little bit bored. I mean, what's happened, I think, Sue, in the last, I don't know, certainly 10 years, social media has really taken off, and I feel that we're more connected than we've ever been in terms of social media through those things called smartphones. But sadly, I feel we're less connected than we've ever been as a result of it. So what I mean by that is that, we can pop and have a chat with somebody that's in America on a WhatsApp call and some old friends from university, but it's not the same as real human connection, and we're finding that people are really missing that right now.
I would totally agree, and I always remember when I was travelling, I think, to Chicago, and this particular hotel had a sort of an hour jazz and a sort of, what would you call it, a sort of happy hour, but particularly the invitation went out to single people staying in the hotel, and I thought, oh wow, brilliant. And so I went down, I got chatting to an amazing woman, and then we went out till about 4 o'clock in the morning to the different jazz clubs there. We had a great time, but it was such fun. It really was fun. Yeah. If you don't have a necessary entree into something, or you don't want, I mean, people are in couples, you don't break into somebody's conversation unless perhaps you're sitting up at a bar. It's a tricky thing to do.
You might be staying in a hotel, you go downstairs to the restaurant or to the bar especially, and people don't really look up anymore. I mean, if you're on your own in the bar, the only thing you're going to do really is look at your phone. Everybody's looking at their phone, swiping, looking at emails, working, or whatever it is, instead of the thing that we did 20 years ago, which was to sort of look around and speak to the chap next to you and say, hi, how are you? And we'd have a conversation, and we'd meet, and sometimes you'd have a really good day with somebody. That is sadly dissipating as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, that's what we're trying to bring back, really.
And I must admit, my Chicago adventure was probably 20 years ago, so I would certainly agree with what you say. So is this just a Cambridge? Is this just a Cambridge-based thing? It implies not.
We've started in Cambridge because I'm from Cambridge, I live in Cambridge, and I love Cambridge. It's just a great place for us to start. It's got a lot of lovely restaurants, hotels, cafes, bars, and a really nice vibe to it. Also, it's got lots of people that are coming in that are new to the area, which obviously fits our sort of business model, if you like. So yes, starting in Cambridge, we'll be sort of doing events here, and they'll increase over the next couple of months. Then we will go nationwide sometime in the next year.
And is there sort of a membership fee for this, or is it going to be an app? How exactly is it going to work?
No, there's no membership, so people could just go on, they can view events. They'll have to sign up as a user and get a username. And at that point, they'll have the option to load one photograph themselves. Don't have to, but they can do. And a little bit of information, so their approximate age, and it's put into brackets, profession and interests.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Paul.
Join the Table had an evening last week at the University Arms which sold out, but a look at its website, jointhetable.co.uk, shows that there are a couple of other opportunities to meet people for coffee, cake and chat again at the University Arms on the 10th and 12th of March from 11 till 12 noon, and at the Mill in Mill Road on the 16th from 10 till 11:30. There's a £2 booking fee, but of course the idea is that you can organise these things yourself in future.
Time for more news now, and if you're inspired by the idea of wild food foraging, Hops and Tails have a guided forage around Hildesheim. It also includes a wild food workshop and cooking demo and other treats too. The first one is on the 28th of March and the next is the 25th of April. They run from 8:45 to midday from the Linton Bakery in Hildesheim. If you'd like to book, just send the Linton Kitchen Bakery a direct message via Instagram.
On to market news. The 12th of March is the Caxton Farmers Market, 21st of March Linton Farmers Market, 22nd of March Chieveley Farmers Market, and the Grandsons Market returns on the 29th of March. And Foodie Fridays are returning to Ely Market. The first one, which is of course food and music, is the 3rd of April from 4pm till 8:30.
Flourish in Hildesheim has its plant sale on the 18th of April, along with live music, hot food and a courtyard bar.
On the 14th of March, A.D. Gordon of Sweet Pea Market Garden is running a workshop on growing microgreens and sprouts. And you'll sow some of your own on the day to take home, and there'll also be plenty to sample on the day, along with hot drinks and light refreshments. It starts at 10 a.m. and you can get tickets from ticketsource.co.uk. Just put Sweet Pea into the search box.
On the 16th of March at Finboy's in Mill Road, there is a Roman night, and the menu has meat as well as fish. On the 1st of April, Finboy's have a South African wine dinner, and on the 20th, a Mexican standoff supper club.
Happy birthday to Van der Lyle, which is 7 years old this month.
Yeah, and just so you know, it's National Black Pudding Day on the 18th of March.
So are you a fan of black pudding, Matt?
Pig's blood and fat mixed with onions and oats, barley, rice, herbs and spices. Yeah, I am a bit. I like it because it's strong. You know, it's got this savoury taste. It actually reminds me a lot of the food from the Taste from Hungary restaurant on Chesterton Road. Deliciously strong flavours there. So black pudding is from the UK, right? But it was a French person who loved English fry-ups who introduced it to me many years ago. And in Scandinavia, they have blood pancakes rather than black pudding. And there's also a white pudding as well. It's got pork and meat and liver instead of the blood.
Yes. Did you ever see that programme on, I think it's on BBC4, about when the Tamla Motown first toured in Britain in the early 60s, before there were motorways, and they were interviewing them about the experience. And I think it was Martha of Martha and the Vandellas obviously found it really difficult because the weather was awful. Yeah. There were no motorways. They had to go through town centres all the time. And she said, and they eat this blood pudding. Ghastly. Anyway, coming up on Flavour, well, actually, I don't mean ghastly, I like them a lot. Coming up on Flavour, home deliveries from the Cherry Pit and from Vanguard, some really quite exciting jams from Culinaris, wine news, an update from social media, and our jobs update. That's after the break in 2 minutes' time. Don't go away.
Cambridge Radio. On Wednesday nights, we bring you highlights from the Cambridge Band Competition, featuring the best of local new music and raising funds for Strawberry Fair. And this year, our coverage is bigger than ever, with 3 hours from the under-18 and over-18 competitions. Join us at the Portland Arms as bands from across the region compete for a place in the grand final. The Cambridge Band Competition, online whenever you want, and Wednesday at 7 on Cambridge Radio.
For the first time ever, the Mozart Group is coming to Cambridge. These brilliantly bonkers musicians will explode onto the stage at the Cambridge Corn Exchange this March. The world-class string quartet combines visual comedy, outrageous timing and musical genius into an exquisite laugh-a-minute production that's not to be missed. So clever, so ridiculous, even John Cleese approves. Mozart Group, 11th of March at Cambridge Corn Exchange. Book now at cornex.co.uk.
Get a fresh perspective on local news in the Wednesday Review with Alex Elbro. Wednesday mornings at 10:30.
Cambridge Radio. Welcome back to Flavour. Now, the Cherry Pit opened on King Street just over a year ago. Styled like an American diner from the 50s with a checkerboard floor, chrome effect tables and chairs like they've been pulled from a Buick. It's full of pies, and you can buy lots of vinyl records there too. The owner is Ellis Clark. She makes all the pies, and here she is now.
I think my earliest memory of pie is at Burger King, surprisingly enough. And not many people remember this, but they did slices of apple pie in little triangular boxes. The mix of the pastry and the cinnamony apples. I think I would drag my mum to Burger King simply for this pie as often as I could.
Would you like some pie?
Massive quantities and a glass of water, sweetheart. My socks are on fire.
I've lived here for about 20 years. I only grew up in Bury St Edmunds, so it was very close anyway. I was always visiting as a child. Curb Collective is probably my favourite cafe in Cambridge. Jack's Gelato, I will always be a massive fan of. I went to Anglia Ruskin University and just stayed ever since because I love this city. Yeah, it's my home. It's where all my friends are. Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't tell you how honoured I am to have put a stamp on it.
We'd like some coffee and a couple of slices of pie.
I wanted to do one product very well when I started my business. I think I was probably rewatching Twin Peaks at the time, and cherry pie, I've always wanted to try the Twin Peaks cherry pie, and it's always something that stands out as wow.
This must be where pies go when they die.
So that planted the idea, and then the more and more I thought about pies, the more I remembered how much I adore them. I remembered this Burger King apple pie and all the other pies I've made and tried in my life, and I think that awoke my subconscious obsession.
My granddaddy always said, if you got a problem that you can't solve, helps to get out of your head. Pie, it's good.
You'd be disgusted by how much of my product I eat. At least one slice of pie a day. People come up to the display fridge and they ask me, which one would you recommend? And I struggle to answer because I love them all so much.
How about a nice big piece of cherry pie?
Cherry pie was always going to be the staple, and I wanted a nice range of regulars that people could always expect when they come in. So the pecan and the pumpkin pie were introduced simply because so many customers wanted to try it.
I would be proud to partake of your pecan pie.
The apple pie was a classic that also, like the cherry, just needed to be a regular. There are so many different types of pie. You can have a different crust, you can have a different filling, you can have a different topping. There's infinite variations, let alone the amount of staple pies there are. Lemon meringue, chess pies, Mississippi mud, custard pies, cheesecake pies, fruit pies. I just listen to feedback as much as I can. I get creative as much as I can. I get inspired by the things I like to eat. For example, we did a walnut whip pie because walnut whip is one of my favourite little chocolates. And I thought, let's see if I can turn this into a pie. And it was really fun and beautiful. It's a bit of a bold claim, but I do believe I can make any pie that you throw at me. If there's one not listed that you'd like, I'm happy to put it together for you. And that includes various dietary requirements as well.
Everywhere around the world, they come to America.
In my previous jobs, I got very cool business trips to go to America. My dad lives in California. Oh, the food. In the UK, we think of biscuits as digestives, but in America, they're almost like scones, but they're made with buttermilk and they're very flaky, and you can have them with more savoury things like sausage and gravy and eggs and bacon. There's a great place in Seattle that does biscuits. They're actually called Biscuit Bitch, which I think is fantastic. If you go to Seattle, check out them. They're super cool. I will always try to go to an authentic American diner every time I'm in America. The most standout pie I have had in America is just the classic pumpkin pie in New York. It was everything I expected from watching it in the movies. That was actually quite late in life. I had my first American slice of pie. You know, I've had apple pie. I think that Americans have definitely put their identity onto pie, even though it's originally a British export. They adopted apple pie from us. I think American pies tend to be more deep dish. We might be more tart fans in the UK, more sort of thinner, more delicate artisan pastries, whereas America are just about the fat slice of wedge of pie. One of my favourite compliments that I get here quite often is that the pies aren't overly sweet, and I think that's important, yeah.
And it's pie.
So the start of the year has been wonderfully busy for us. Unfortunately, though, it has meant a few days we have sold out of pie, and unfortunately had to disappoint a few people who have come in really wanting to try the cherry pie. And I've been thinking about this for a while. You know, what happens if I sell out? How can people make sure that they get to try what they want if they're in town? So how about they can order in advance by the slice? So I put up a little page on my website where you can click and collect. You can order your pie ahead of time, make sure it's nice and reserved for you. You can order by the slice, or as usual, you can also order a whole pie, £40, any pie. That includes the custom ones and any dietary requirements. Simply fill out a form, pick the pie you like, and we'll have it ready for you.
I keep drinking malted milk, trying to drive my blues away.
We're very fortunate to stock Jack's Gelato ice cream. Not only is that a wonderful side for a pie, they also make the most beautiful milkshakes. And being an American diner style, we had to go malted milkshakes. I'm not sure if you've ever had a malted milkshake before, but it's a very classic American diner product. They're very Moorish and made in a classic retro milkshake machine, which I love using.
Malted milk.
Yeah, so the malted milkshakes that we have are chocolate, vanilla, we have a cherry one, banana, peanut butter and coffee. Kind of the classic flavours.
God damn, it's a pretty good milkshake.
Yeah, ice cream floats, if you've never had one, you absolutely have to. The classic ice cream float is Coca-Cola with a scoop of ice cream just dumped in it.
You can drink that.
It melts as it goes, so you can just use a straw. If you want a spoon to scoop out some ice cream as you go, you can. But yeah, it kind of turns it into this big frothy eruption of vanilla, caramelized, delicious drink. A lot of people, even knew it growing up. Their mum made it for them. Like, that's how I know it. My mum used to make me Coke floats all the time. But originally, it was back in the soda fountain era, in the 50s in America, when diners were just kind of starting up. The cool kids or the cool teenagers used to go to soda fountains where they'd drink Coca-Cola and smoke their cigarettes. One day, I think one of these soda fountains ran out of ice, so they decided to put ice cream in the Coke instead to keep it cool, and that took off. And we serve it here at the Cherry Pit, and we do the original Coke float, and we also offer cherry floats, lemonade floats. So they're very fun. Special pies. Our regulars are the cherry, apple, pecan and pumpkin, and I just want to make sure that they're always available for people who'd like to try them. But there's still another spot in the fridge, so that's the one I like to rotate. And like I mentioned, there are so many different pies we can do, so this is the opportunity to put something different in the fridge. This weekend I'm going to be working on a little Easter special. Think mini egg nest pie. Last weekend we did a peanut butter and jelly, which had like a big Swiss roll topping, and that looked the part. A very special one. It was a bit wild and it divided people. It was inspired by Elvis Presley's favourite sandwich, which is peanut butter, bacon and banana. So I did a peanut butter cream cheese, a banana mousse and whipped cream top with bacon. And the bacon on top, people were like, really? There wasn't a lot. It was powerful. I think it worked really well, the sweet and the salty. But yeah, some people, not for them.
You know what? Now I want some pie, Kay.
Sure. Yeah, we're open Thursday to Sunday, 10 till 6. And then Sunday is 10 till 4. So we're closed Monday to Wednesday.
That was a slice of cherry pie and a cup of coffee. Damn good food. Diane, if you ever get up this way, that cherry pie is worth a stop.
I'm very happy. People often comment about how warm and smiley I am, and it's genuinely just because I'm living the dream every day in this place. Very happy.
2 more pieces of this incredible pie.
That was Ellis Clark, owner of the Cherry Pit on 82 King Street. So now you can order your pies by the slice, you can order whole pies, you can even order custom design pies, and you can do it all online at her website, thecherrypit.co.uk. And because the Cherry Pit's such a good-looking place, it's been great for events. They've had a milkshake party last year. They've had live bands, DJs there, talks, poetry as well, I think. And there's plenty more events coming up this year. And especially with the weather picking up, it's going to be a great venue. And as a side note, I clocked one of the pictures on her wall, contained the logo, the old Parrot Records logo. Do you remember that? I haven't seen it in about 20 years. I used to buy so much music from there. My last purchase was Jeff Buckley, in case anyone's interested. Parrot Records, they were a proper indie music shop on King Street, and the Cherry Pit is a proper indie coffee and pie diner, also on King Street.
And that's Supercharged taking us into the wine news. At Great Britannia in Chesterton Road tomorrow afternoon, there's a celebration of International Women's Day called Women in Wine. It has a tasting of 6 different wines celebrating women working across different aspects of English wine. There'll also be short videos featuring the stories of each of the women, and it runs from 3 to 5 p.m.
Cambridge Cookery and Wine School has a few places left at its Bordeaux and Bourgogne talk and tasting. That's on Tuesday.
Back to Great Britannia on the 25th of March, 5 years on, a tasting of a range of Pinot Noir, 5 years on from their release.
The Three Hills in Bartlow has launched a monthly wine club with tastings from a different region each time, along with substantial nibbles. The tastings take place on the third Thursday of the month, so the next one is on the 19th of March, and that runs from 7 till 9 p.m. If you're interested, you can book at the bar, or you can phone Cambridge 890 500.
Also on the 19th of March at the Wine Rooms in Hills Road, there is a North versus South Italy tasting from 7 till 8:30 p.m.
And finally, Cambridge Wine Merchants' Beginner's Guide to Wine is coming up in a few months, but it sells out fast, so it's a good idea to book in advance. On the 15th of May, it's going to cover unusual grape varieties. On the 19th of June, they'll be talking about New Zealand wines. On the 17th of July, it's wines from Germany. And on the 21st of August, it's a guide to a good bottle. All of these events are held at the King's Parade branch, and they begin at 8 p.m.
News now from Alice of Van Jard, who sells refills from a van. And in a new move, the van may come to your home if you want it to. Alice, you're planning on doing doorstep deliveries for Van Jard. How's that going to work, and when's it likely to start?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to start it next week, which is the second week of March. And we're going to have a monthly schedule. So each Monday we will do a different route. So we're going to have one route that goes out past Trumpington, goes to Haslingfield and Shepworth, and we'll have another route that goes out to the east towards Fulbourn, and around like Burwell and places like that. And then we'll have another route that goes more out to the west towards Camborne and Caxton End. So we'll do a different route every week on Mondays. And the way it will work was you'll go to our website, you'll pick which products you want. You'll enter either the volume or the weight that you know can fit in your container. You'll leave your containers outside, and then on the Monday I'll just come round and fill them up for you.
You'll be playing Hunt the Container, I think.
Yeah, it would be really helpful if people leave me clear instructions of where they've hidden their containers.
Yeah, and so they order and pay online?
Yeah, they'll order and pay online, and it will just be paying by the weight, exactly like you would do if you visited my van in person.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. And I know when we spoke last time, you were looking to get more. I know you've got a lot of local products and a lot of organic products as well, but you've expanded your range.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm always looking to connect with and promote more local producers and local businesses. So I've added a few more to the van. So now we're working with Patrons Table, who do really amazing like chili oils and chili nuts, and they've won a lot of great taste awards, and I really recommend them. We've also got Molino's Cambridge Biscotti, which is super yummy, and I actually struggle because I give out free samples, and I really struggle. I just eat it all the time on the van. So. And then we've also got some tea, some loose leaf tea from Give and Tea, which is a Cambridge-based non-profit. And they source all their teas from communities in East Africa, and then all the profit they produce goes back to funding initiatives in those communities. So I think it's just a really valuable and amazing company, and I just love supporting them.
Yes,
and their tea is amazing as well.
Is it? Right, okay. I'll have to try that next time I come. Right, okay. And is there anything that sells particularly well, that's particularly, hit the market?
Yeah, I mean, something that I didn't really expect was how popular our dried mango would be. But it just goes like absolute wildfire. I have to get a bigger jar to put it in because I just can't keep up with the rate that people are buying it at.
Right, what do they do with it? Do they just sort of nibble on it?
I think they just snack on it because it's like a healthy snack, I guess, but it's very satisfying. So.
Oh, right. Well, I'll have to give that a go as well.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks very much, Alice.
Yeah, thank you, Alan.
Yeah, dried mango sounds good. What do you reckon, Matt?
I've never been a fan of mango, but I've never tried dried mango before. Maybe is it substantially different?
I've never tried dried mango before either. I should think it's pretty mango-y, though. Also, Alice from Vanguard told me, because I bought some Carlin peas, a tin of Carlin peas from her, and she gave me a recipe which is on the Bold Bean Co. website called French Onion Carlin Pea Bake, and it is absolutely fantastic. I really recommend it. But there is no Vanguard this weekend because of illness, but they are taking orders for Monday refills.
And that's our familiar music, signalling time for news from social media, and a reminder that you can find Flavour on Instagram. We are at FlavourCam. And you can also contact us by email, flavour@cambridge.radio.
There's a new community cafe opening in Arbury run by Cambridge Sustainable Foods, and volunteers, there are volunteer positions available if you're interested. volunteer@cambridgesustainablefood.org is the email address. Aperitivo nights at Tradizioni restaurant in Mill Road, Monday to Thursday 5 to 7, Friday to Saturday 4 to 6. Cambridge Cookery has a wine tasting singles night on the 17th of April. Botany Foodie in Mill Road is open for iftar, for hot and cold drinks, desserts, borex, snacks, Turkish delight and more, and it's open from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. There's a new launch menu at Cherry Hinton Road. The Cambridge Wine Merchant Store has a new menu launching on Friday, March the 6th. That was yesterday. And they're having Fizz Fridays every Friday from 5 till 7 in Cherry Hinton Road as well. I think that's probably about it. Just late news, the Curb Collective's roastery is closed today, Saturday, because of staff and equipment sickness. Sounds terminal. I'm sure it isn't. Anyway, that's the sort of the update from social media. I spoke with Zoltan from Culinaris recently about some of the foods they're selling, and it was quite memorable. One of the foods was bergamots, and Zoltan gave me some ideas for their use. I bought one and had it in a gin and tonic in place of lemon, as Zoltan suggested, and it was very good, gentler, warmer than lemon. This week I went back to Culinaris, and Zoltan told me about some of the jams they're selling. Well, Zoltan, you've got some fantastic-looking jams on your shelf.
It's more and more difficult to get proper jams. So the problem is that most supermarket jams these days have a very, very high sugar content, like added sugar, and they're mostly made of frozen fruit.
Are they? Right.
Yeah.
And presumably if they've got a lot of sugar added, it's fruit that's probably picked before it's properly ripe.
That as well, sugars. But also they are industrial big batches. Plum can be a mix of plums.
Right, a mix of varieties.
And then you don't really have the flavor.
Yeah.
Now, what we were trying to get here is to find jam makers who are working, first of all, close to the orchards. So it's fresh and ripe fruit. And not only that, come from one orchard or one farm. Some of our jams are single variety. For example, this Carpentras strawberry has now 75 grams of fruit.
That is high.
That is
Carpentras being in Provence, in southern France.
It's southern France, so they're not far from the Rhone, where you get wild blueberry, for example.
Have you got wild blueberry jam?
Yes, wild blueberry. From both producers, Romanier and from Ellimata. And Ellimata is Pope of fruit juices. He started out about 25 years ago, and then a few years ago, the jams. This he makes only 6 jams. The Sengana strawberry, another variety that's...
So that's a single variety jam again?
Yeah. Yes. There's rhubarb, obviously needs a little bit more sugar, but it's quite an amazing one. Wild quince from Provence.
Wild quince
again. Yeah. A very, very interesting one. So the third producer is from Agen, from the southwest, which is the prune capital of France. The prune d'Agen is
well known. Yeah,
is well known, and they have also this amazing range going from Corsican clementines and Corsican lemon. One of my favorites, the red peaches, the pêche de vigne. So why I brought this up, last time we spoke about bergamot and the cheesecake, and I always like a little bit of jam on the side, but baking season coming up, and the spring baking or Easter baking season, where I think more lighter, so all these jams would make a beautiful addition to a little tartlet.
But the thing that strikes me about these jams, Zoltan, is the variety. I mean, it's not often that you see rhubarb jam, for example.
No, and honestly, clementine jam.
Or clementine jam.
Or the wild blueberry we just talked about. And the black cherry one.
A great place to discover something new is Culinaris.
Yeah, it is. It's just great going in and looking at the shelves.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I like the idea of their wild blueberry jam and just the amount of different places they're sourcing the stuff in from.
Yeah.
Romania for the jam. I think they make affinata spirit with that. I had that once when I'd lost my voice, brought my voice back instantly.
Did it, right. Okay, let's have a quick look at Feast magazine from today's Guardian. And one of the interesting things about Feast is, okay, it gives you lots of recipes, but also within the recipes, there's often tips that you can use more generally, not just in that recipe. So, for example, Thomasina Mears as a recipe for buttered dill and pea rice, which she suggests is an accompaniment for another dish she has a recipe for. But the beginning of this recipe for buttered dill and pea rice says, dill, butter and lemon are magic together, but add sizzled garlic to the mix and you have the most delicious buttered rice.
Ooh.
But just that combination, dill, butter, lemon and garlic, you know, it's not one that you would necessarily come across.
No, I never use enough dill as it is. Do you?
We don't use it very often. We used to grow it. I think it died. Okay. I don't think it survives the winters.
I know that Parker's Tavern, they do salted dill. So Alice Ryan, now she had a dinner there, and I think she mentioned that, like, with their potatoes and so on, they served salted dill. They do all sorts of different types of salt, and it packs such a punch.
Yes. Well, go back to Culinaris. They've got lots of different types of salt, including smoked salt. So there you go. But another combination, it says Rosie Healy has a couple of recipes, and it says the trio of fennel, blood orange and potato is one of my all-time favourites. Again, something I've never come across.
No.
And she has a recipe for baked hake with blood orange, fennel and potato. And we are having hake tonight, but I've eaten all our blood oranges, which is a bit irksome. Georgina Hayden talks about cauliflower, for a recipe, cauliflower, lentils and chorizo. And she says, not the ingredients, but the method of cooking. She says the transformation that cauliflower undergoes in a very hot oven means there is now rarely a time when I don't roast it first. Making cauliflower cheese, roast, don't boil. You'll end up with a richer, potentially less watery finish. Absolutely roast it first. It's a game changer, and it almost feels insulting to boil it because that doesn't release its full potential. So that's a good tip.
Really good. Yeah, I love cauliflower cheese. Are you a fan?
Yeah, I made it this week, actually. And then in the KitchenAid section, the secret to crisp-skinned fish, which actually, not surprisingly, is you need to dry the fish well and have good hot oil to put it in as well. There's lots of other things in Feast, Matt, but I fear we'll run out of time. But some good things. I'll just finish on the sweet spot, lemon curd layer cake. Sounds rather nice, doesn't it? Okay, so that's today's Feast.
And that is Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs, taking us into our jobs section.
Yeah, well, I see Booker T is playing in London next month.
Yeah, do you know what the MG stands for?
Well, different people say different things. People say it's the car, the MG car.
That's right, you got it in one.
Other people say it's Memphis Group. So
Memphis Group, I think they made up to avoid not trade descriptions, but getting sued by...
Oh, really?
Yeah, by MG, so they were very worried about that. So it's named after the sports car owned by another musician at Stax who played with them and also with a backing group called the Triumphs, which was also another one of his cars.
I used to have a Triumph Herald. A soft-top Triumph Herald, Martin.
Oh, very nice. But did you have the weather for it?
Well, I lived in Newcastle at the time, so not always.
Anyway, back to jobs, and Pizza Mondo has a full-time position available. It's a 4-day working week. You must be able to drive, and have your own vehicle for commuting, preferably an MG or a Triumph. Send them a direct message via Instagram to apply, or just email them.
Curb Collective has a vacancy for a barista available at weekends to work at the Roastery and Riverside at the Cambridge Museum of Technology. Apply via their Instagram account. And a barista is needed at Stir in Histon. Apply via email recruitment@yourstir.co.uk.
And that takes us to the end of our programme for today. Don't forget that we're here on alternate Saturdays at 12 noon. We're repeated on Sundays at 1, Mondays at 2 and Tuesdays at 6, all in the PM. We're also available as a podcast from all the usual places, but if you can't wait, you can just hit that on-demand button on the Cambridge Radio website.
So that's all from us today. After the news at 1 p.m. is Christine Schneider, followed at 2 p.m. by Sue Marchant's Selection. We'll be back on the 21st of March with lots more food and drink news, jobs and features. Until then, thanks for listening, and don't forget National Black Pudding Day, 18th of March. We hope you enjoy it. So from me and Matt, goodbye.
Goodbye.